Welcome to Voice Power. Today's episode will feature an expert in their field and provide very interesting content for you. Voice Power features a dual purpose: topical content related to Earl Thomas's voiceover journey and a variety of interview guests. Earl Thomas is always on the lookout for you for guests who bring focused and interesting content on a variety of topics. Thanks for listening today, and now here is Earl Thomas, the voice. Before I bring in today's guest, thank you for being a loyal listener to my podcast. I am grateful for you, and it is amazing we're going into my 5th season. When I started out, back in May of 2021, I had no idea of how long Voice Power would go, let alone into Season 5. The podcast is only here because you are listening, and we are at over 3,000 downloads. Blows my mind. I always welcome your feedback. I would love to hear what you enjoy about the show. Send your thoughts to Earl@shaw.ca. You can go to the show notes at the very top and click on Send Us a Text, and it will take you to a place where you can send a message, or at the very bottom you will see my email, Earl@shaw.ca. I really enjoy podcasting, and I'm grateful for your loyalty to Voice Power. Welcome to Voice Power, Season 5, Episode 3. My very special guest, with over 10 years' experience as a TV host and producer for Run With It and The Closing Act, airing on Novice TV, VOD, and live streaming. Eric Zwigart created his TV show Run With It from his passion for running. Eric interviews doctors, nutritionists, and shares inspirational stories. Eric is an inspirational story himself, which we will discover more in our interview. Following his passion led to launching his show and eventually speaking and giving summit talks. Real estate visionary, investor advocate, and entrepreneur, Eric Zwigart is the CEO and founder of Rock Solid Capital Investments, LLC, a high-performance real estate investment firm specializing in short-term, high-yield, fix-and-flip projects across the U.S. He has founded companies with over $500 million in closed sales. Emerging as a strategic leader in the real estate space, helping accredited investors earn 22 to 26% annual percentage rate, ROI passively, without the long lockup periods typical that traditional real estate funds have. A proud U.S. veteran and award-winning entrepreneur, Eric's journey is uniquely shaped by his neurodivergent perspective, which fuels his talent for identifying hidden market opportunities and transforming undervalued properties into thriving community assets. His innovative approach fuses real estate expertise with technology, trend analysis, and a deep understanding of investor psychology. Through Rock Solid, he provides investors with access to tax-advantaged, secured investment opportunities that are purpose-driven and performance-backed. When he's not leading multi-million-dollar projects or speaking on investor podcasts, Eric enjoys time with his family and continually mentors others seeking to break into the world of real estate investing with integrity and intention. Meeting Eric recently on LinkedIn, I have found him to be a very inspiring person, as he made my day by a positive affirmation and saying, "Earl, your message truly made my day. Thank you for the kind words and the good energy you put into everything you do." I'm truly grateful for Eric, as his message really encouraged my life at the end of a busy work day. I welcome Eric Zwigart to Voice Power. Welcome, Eric, to Voice Power. How's your day going? You're feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit better. I I battled the flu, and now it's just kind of a little bit of a voice throat thing. But other than that, I'm good.
Well, I'm
Thanks.
glad we connected on LinkedIn recently. Your thoughts really gave me a lift, noticing my positive energy because I wasn't aware of it at the time. I'm looking forward to diving into your story as I know you will inspire everyone, including myself. Now, on a recent Saturday night here in Vancouver, there was a great tragedy. At the end of the Filipino Lapu-Lapu Festival, 11 innocent people were killed by a driver who was out of control. Many were injured, and others were transported to 9 different hospitals. Vancouver is continuing in a recovery state, and many need to hear your recovery story. Here at Voice Power, our voice in life creates positivity and inspiration for others. Eric, let's begin now by finding out how you bring positivity and inspiration into your life and business at Riverside, California.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I just that's a tragedy. I hate to hear that, but it's sad.
It,
Hate
it,
to hear
it,
that
it is
stuff.
really, yeah. We're praying for the people here. I've got quite a few
Absolutely.
Filipino friends.
I do
Your,
as well.
yes. Your hero's journey on your website is truly amazing as your life story is inspiring. We'll look into that and have some questions. First, tell me, what are you really grateful for today?
Well, I'm down in Newport Beach. I'm really grateful for, you know, the blessings of my two sons. I love my boys and I'm connected with them. And so I've got quite a story of reconnection with them. And I'm down by the beach rehabbing a property and working in real estate. And it's just a passion and a joy. So, blessed to have, I even asked for, blessing this morning when I was feeling sick. I said, "Thank you, Lord. Even that I'm sick, thank you for blessing me with enough health to also, if I have this sickness, it brings me closer to you because I'm praying about getting over it. So thank you for all the blessings you give me. So I was even blessed, even in being sick. You're still blessed because you're connected to the Lord. So I love that.
Yes, and gratitude is a key thing for me. I'll put you on my gratitude list tonight because at the end of each night, I think of who I can be grateful for, and it's something I've been doing for quite a while.
Love it.
Your hero's journey, part two, very inspiring. Your website at rocksolidcap.com to give it a full listen later. There are 12 steps or chapters. Your story shows great recovery and resilience in the face of incredible mountains of challenges that appeared insurmountable. To give listeners a brief taste of the hero's journey, could you briefly identify any of the 12 steps that come to your mind?
Some of the steps that are most important and some that stick out the most are one is when you get the hardest challenges and you're hit with something that really floors you. You feel the disaster of it all, and then the recovery in the sense that what happened and how did you regain your life and your move forward process. So for me, those are the two. There's just steps in between and the story in between and backstories, but a hero's journey in essentially is about storytelling, and you bring your story into those steps. And so I recommend, to be honest, I recommend anybody doing a hero's journey because it just goes back and shows you parts of your life and it kind of dissects things and it makes you the hero of the story of how you tell the story. And it's pretty interesting how it comes together. I never heard of it before. I did this exercise about a year ago for Capital Collective presentation in San Diego. And since then, I've really loved diving into that hero's journey. And I think it's going to change some things. I'm going to use it for people to hear about my story and also use it for inspiration on just how great of a fall I took and how you need to come back from that.
Well, I always love hearing a bounce back story, and it's really important. Eric, tell us what was the key that deeply helped you not to give up and how important your faith is.
That's the thing. You cannot give up. I actually had somebody listen to my story and reached out. My story is one that's it's relative. I mean, if you lose everything, you lose everything. So I built a pretty big company, about 150 million a year, and and you know, was an entrepreneur of the year, and then in COVID, I lost it all, and so I lost $35 million personally, and then my parents and my wife, my marriage came apart, and all kind of different things happened, but you can't stop or give up. I never did that. I always move forward. The good advice is immediately, try to get your footing stopped, stop the fall, and then start your ascent back up. So you immediately need to grab onto something that's positive and invest your time in that, because anything that you focus on the past and history is just that. It's history. It's worthless. You can't change it. It's not even a good thought because you can't change it. So what can you change? The future and the present. So that's what I put my time into, and then my faith is really what turned it around for me.
That's wonderful. It's good to know we can reach out whenever it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
really important because there are challenges in being in business. Now,
Absolutely.
I know you have a passion for revitalizing neighborhoods. Could you give us one of your top examples of that?
Actually, Earl, I happen to be. I didn't expect to be in the field today, but actually, I'm not sure if you could see this, but I'm going to put you outside here. But this is one of my projects. There's a Newport Beach home here on 1700 Port Ashley Place. So it's a gorgeous neighborhood, but the opportunity was that the lady that was living there, just was not able to take care of the house anymore, and so we were able to pick it up for a discount, and then we just start revitalizing it, rehabbing it, and yeah, so we bought it for 3.9 million, and hoping to sell it in that 7 million range. So that's where our goal is. So it's pretty exciting.
So it's in the process, and that's some of the good stories are in the process, and it's important to follow all the steps, and no matter what happens, there'll be a good result. I'm looking forward to
Absolutely.
hearing about that for you. You have identified yourself as ADHD and neurodivergent. Please briefly define what both of those are. And could you tell us how both of those create challenges in your business and life experience and how you overcame those challenges on a daily basis?
And so for me, I didn't. The crazy part is that I don't know if you can realize this, but I grew up my whole life not realizing that I had ADHD or was neurodivergent, and had I was on the spectrum, they like to say, but I am, and so I've done those tests and working through some of those things, but to realize it, I had already built a big company. This is after my company fell apart in 2020, 2021. So, I was in business for a long time. I'd won Entrepreneur of the Year. I've done all these things, but nothing. I had issues of always, certain issues, all kinds of issues, but my mind was always busy, and I never thought I did well or good enough at anything. Even winning an award like as Southern California Entrepreneur of the Year, and it's a prestigious award, and there's 1,000 people in a black tie affair, and you think it would be wonderful, but for me, I thought, well, that was pretty easy. I could have done that easily, or that's no big deal, and you could have done better. And I think, well, and so all those things. But then once you find out you have ADHD, or you find out you are on the spectrum, it answers so many questions, and then now you can do different things, and you actually then turn your ADHD and your neurodivergence into a superpower. You realize that there are things you're really good at, extremely well, genius level maybe on some things, but on others you're very poor at. And that could be emotional issues, or ways you deal with people, or your filter. Maybe you say things you're not supposed to. So I'd love to bring some awareness to that, of people not thinking that they're thinking that they're not okay, or there's an issue, but really it's just maybe ADHD, or maybe being on the spectrum, or those type of things. I'd love to bring some awareness to that, and not only this podcast but other podcasts, and maybe even my own someday.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing some awareness because I had heard of ADHD, but I'd never heard of neurodivergent. Could you give our listeners who are not aware a short one sentence on ADHD, a definition, and on neurodivergent? Because I don't really know what neurodivergent is.
Okay, so ADHD is attention. They say it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but essentially it's a little bit how it works is a little bit reversed of that. You pay attention to too many things, so you could be distracted very easily. So your attention is easily distracted all over the board, and it comes with a bunch of traits. Now it can be hereditary, or it can be done or come upon somebody through events of their life, or when they're kids and things like that. So there's some things that go along with that, and then so it could be in your DNA or genes, and then also being on the spectrum is it's incredible that a lot of if you look in politics a lot they talk about now autism and things like that. And being autistic is on the spectrum. So the spectrum is your brain functions differently than, let's say, the majority or a neurotypical brain. So they call it neurodivergent. So neurotypical is one side of things, neurodivergent is here. So autism falls into in the spectrum, and Asperger's and all of those different things. And ADHD also falls in that realm. So depending on all the different tests and phases, you're going to be on this side of things, which calls you neurodivergent. Elon Musk, the most the world's most richest man, he himself calls himself autistic or neurodivergent. So there's superpowers and there's things going on there that you're really, really good at. And so it's not a stigma. And that's what I'd love to kind of take off some of that stigma of being ADD or ADHD. To be honest, I go to these conferences now, and 90% of entrepreneurs are ADHD, maybe 95%.
80%? Wow.
I'm telling you, you ask anybody, and everybody has these traits, but they don't know it, and they wouldn't call themselves that, and it's not. They're a high functioning form of this neurodivergence.
It's
So,
how the brain
um,
thinks. Is that basically where it gets
yeah,
it gets
the
hyper?
brain thinks, yes, hyper, and you're always thinking, and you might get stuck on things, and you have an ability to ultra focus. So those things are really are driving a driving force. But you can imagine if your brain's always on overload or on something or focused on something, you might not be a good father, or you might not be a good husband, or you might not be a good friend, or things go to by the wayside that are emotional things that don't fall into that computer. Your brain is sometimes more like a computer than it is being able to do emotional intelligence and regular logical thinking. So it's pretty interesting. I haven't figured it all out, but I love the journey so far of learning the fact that I'm not as bad as I thought I was, and it gives me a little bit more grace.
Well, I've enjoyed getting to know you, and how we think about ourselves is really important, and the fact that we talk about it. I think more is being talked about these types of topics than back in the 50s.
Oh, absolutely. And when I grew up, I mean, ADD was to be made fun of. ADD, and you were a riddling kid, and you were a disaster, and I wasn't so much like that, but definitely can I recall some issues as a kid, and but and you feel different, and then what happens a lot of times, and this is another part, is when you're like that, and you are able to see the difference of the two. What you do is you mask yourself to mold yourself to whatever people you want people to think. You want people to like you, so you mask yourself into what they want, and then eventually you become resentful because you've changed yourself in order to be somebody for them that they like, but you're really not yourself. And then if you do that enough, you then lose track of who you really are anyway, and it's a real mess. So I've been there.
How long have you been on this journey? How long have you been aware of this? Is it recent?
2 or 3 years. Yeah, I'm not gonna I gotta tell you my age. I just turned 50, so I'd probably say 47. So 47 to learn, and 47, 48 to learn that you have those things and never know why you thought a certain way or act a certain way was quite an eye opener. So going from there, it's a blessing to learn that. And it's amazing if you could bring someone if you could tell somebody in their 20s to take a look at this, or whoever's listening, hey, maybe you have that, maybe you focus a lot of something, or your attention isn't that great, and just go into that testing, because it has other effects in your life other than just attention. It has all kind of little quirks, but if you find out early, you can actually help treat it, and give yourself some grace and peace of not being so hard on yourself, because that's one of the side effects of having that type of a life.
Eric, thanks for bringing awareness of that in your life and for the listeners. I thank you for that. Now, tell us your experience as a published author with Success Strategies collaborating with Jack Canfield. What was working with him like, and what did you learn from him and like most about your experience?
Well, it was pretty interesting. So I wrote a chapter in a success stories book, and went through that, and it's pretty neat to be able to put something together with somebody that's so famous and world renowned, of the chicken soup for the soul guy. That's what I knew him as when I first started that, and other people put together their stories, and then you basically come together. It's like a chicken soup. You put the group together, and you have a book. So it was interesting, and I liked the process. I'd love to go through it again and maybe do one of my own, kind of maybe on this journey, and also maybe uplifting folks in the financial world that may have some downfalls that I could give some advice to, or the ADHD side of things, or however I can help would be wonderful. Is wonderful to me. I like doing that.
Now, you have a 12-month plan and leadership philosophy based on systems, team building, and aligning vision with execution. How's that plan going, and what recent wins would you desire to share?
Plan's going well. Everything is coming in line, and thank God it's just aligns up when it's his timing, and so all of my scaling is coming together. All of my internal pieces are coming together for management. And so, in fact, I just got done with a meeting that went really well. So, adding another team member to the national team, and blessed to be growing, and coming out of that hole of a disaster, like losing $35 million and $150 million a year company, and losing those things and coming out of it and being okay. Mentioned earlier, somebody was reaching out to me after I spoke with the Raise Master Capital Collective group in San Diego. A bunch of people that raise funds, and bankers and so on and so forth. Someone reached out, and they lost 22 million. They thought they were really at the tops, and they're still in a grind. And to be honest, we partnered after that. So he's a partner of mine now, and I'm helping him get out of that hole, and he's helping me get out of my hole. But one of his major things was, look, there's not a lot of us around, because most of those people that have that happen, they just drop off the earth. They either die, or they try to die, or they just quit, and they just become nothingness. You don't hear about them because they're done. They're toast. And so that was really an eye opener to hear that. I thought, wow, people give up, and then you just don't hear about them anymore. And I'm not that type of guy. So if anybody thought they wouldn't hear from me again after that happened to me, that's not the case.
Yes, it would be, I can't imagine getting that much money and then losing it. But you mentioned a
Yeah.
word there to bring clarity. You said something about scaling. What is that?
So scaling is when you get your business to a point that it's making money, it's profitable, but you can also put pieces, either vertical integration, or pieces that can build your business quickly. So a lot of people have this happen when they scale. They can scale a franchise, or they can scale a business, or they can replicate that business. So that's kind of the positive mode that our Rock Solid Capital Investments is in, as well as all the Rock Solid affiliate companies.
Now, what is generational wealth, and how do clients unlock generational wealth and make an impact on community?
Well, in my case, generational wealth is something that you can put together that transcends your passing, and potentially your children's passing, and it's building a large pool of wealth that can be used for future generations and supports them, and then they also learn those techniques throughout their life. So to me, is also not just giving generational wealth, but it's also teaching generational wealth. Your savings and your IRAs and your 401ks and your insurances, all of those things play into a whole grand scheme of all putting together generational wealth and also getting passive income to a point where you don't have to work anymore. If you didn't work, you have enough money to live on. And so that's even hard for folks to retire with nowadays. Uh, so the goal in what I'm doing and in real estate and what I would teach people is to get enough of a principal and a passive income that surpasses your W-2, so that should anything happen, you could just basically sit there and you didn't have to work.
Well, passive income, and you said you could define that, and also what's your W-2?
So your W-2 is your employment. So that's your regular day job. So you have your day job, and then your passive income is what you do to either save or outside of your day job to have that you don't have to aggressively make. So a passive income is something where, let's say, for instance, if you were to put $100,000 in my fund, you would make $24,000 passively. So you'd make $2,000 a month in income from putting $100,000 in our fund. So that's where rock solid capital investments come. So if folks have monies to invest, it's great to increase that principal to a point where if you are making $100,000 a year, then you want to get your passive income past, 10,000, 8 to 10,000 a month. That's what you want to get your passive income past there, because then basically you have your salaries covered, and you don't have to, you don't have to kill yourself if you don't want to all the time, and you can kind of reduce roles and do some different things, and you have your income covered with your passive income, which means it's being done for you.
I think there's a lot of people who are making passive income and they don't realize it. When you're getting interest on, let's say for my Jumpstart account in Van City, it comes in every month. It's small,
Yep.
but it's still it's
Passive
there.
income.
Yeah,
It's there.
yeah, yeah. Now, what is high ROI passive real estate investing, and how long have you been helping clients in that? And do you have a big success story you would like to share?
Well, I've been doing it for a long time. I've had a lot of investors with me for a long time, and most of them are friends and family. But when we moved into this scaling phase, we're doing a 506c fund. So that's at rocksolidcap.com. And you hit the invest now button, and it shows you those ways to passively invest in real estate. So there's many ways to do it. There's multifamily, which we kind of cover, but for the most part, we're a single family market. So we offer 22%, 24%, and 26% based on how much you put in the fund. And then you payment of that. It's essentially a dividend of that. And then you're tax deferred until you take out all the principal of the fund. So basically, as you keep your monies in there, it will continually pay you. And we take and use those monies to make profits and pay back our interest. And then what's left over is the money we make in the delta, or the net, I should say. So our company makes off the net, whereas the investor makes off of the actual interest rate.
Do you have a success story, keeping the names, confidential, that you have seen grow that really surprised you?
Sure. I mean, it's funny because I have some small investors that take, $7,500 back when they were friends and family and didn't have a minimum. And then the 506c fund is for accredited investors, which means they have a certain amount of income and or financial knowledge. So there's accredited and non-accredited. The one I'm talking about now off our website is an accredited only 506c fund. Yes, they make the money and then they reinvest the money. So it's nice to see people when they get their returns and and their monthly income, but then they also add to it or they roll it over and keep it going. So you know it's working and it's doing well, and they also share in the community of us buying new properties and getting bigger. You know, I get messages all the time. Excited about a newsletter. We put out a newsletter every month, and it's like a community of folks saying, "Hey, thanks for letting us participate." I love that.
So that's the dollar cost averaging, which was talked about in The Wealthy Barber. I read that book a long time ago, and you put a certain amount away. You don't have to put a lot away, but it keeps building.
Yes, absolutely. It keeps building and then they keep building. And if you could do that for them, that's where we come into that saying of the passive income. If you can get your passive income over top of what your W 2 was or what you make in your normal day job, then you have a lot more stability and you feel a lot more relaxed. If something should happen, you still have your income that can handle and take care of your life without having to worry about it.
Is there a lot of market uncertainty now, and how do you help your clients navigate this to greater results? Because there is instability at times in the world.
Certainly, and then that's kind of where we're at. I mean, I didn't in politically. I mean, I didn't think that the Trump thing was going to rock everybody as much as it did. I thought it'd be a little bit more smooth, but tariffs and all kind of crazy things that come up, and I think are part of the process of making things better. But yet, it takes time. So, everybody has to come together as a way to smooth that part out. Well, what does that create? It creates volatility in the market. So right now there's a lot of volatility and a lot of ups and downs. And so you don't know what's going to be said next that could do something to the markets, the stock markets and things. So that's where we are having incredible success on this side of things because we're an alternative investment. Other than being in the market, we're an actual security that people can get into and buy, and then they receive they receive their income from that, but they can count on it, and it's consistent. And you put your money in, and this is what you get, and we tell you up front this is what you get, and you don't have to worry that it's up and down and going to change. So that's the good thing about the passive, self-directed type of investments. That's what we have.
What is it that you enjoy most about the work you do in helping your clients to greater financial results? And you must have in your own personal money, because you understand about all this, it must put you in a good space. But what is it you enjoy the most about helping others?
Well, what I enjoy the most is I really think about one of the things is I have a bunch of knowledge in that neurodivergent brain of mine that I love to share. Not that everybody wants to take that knowledge. It's funny, you have something that be able to give other people advice, then you take it yourself. I am now trying to take my own advice and do the things that I've talked about for a long time. So it's nice to get kind of evolved to that, but it's also nice to see people listen to you and believe in you and believe in your story and believe in your product. And so that I love that feeling of, hey, I trust you, and be a good steward of my money. Do what you say you're going to do, and work on that, and put that in forefront of your investment, helping people. And that's what we do. Investors' money comes first. And that's why, in fact, in our underwriting, we net everything out because everything is based on us netting out our profit way after investors are already paid.
Do you have an offer for our Voice Power listeners? What can you offer them from your great
Well, certainly.
portfolio of skills and abilities?
Well, certainly, I offer anybody to reach out and come on to rocksolidcap.com. So rocksolidcap.com. You reach out to me, book a call. Let me know if you heard me on the show, and I'll probably have some type of maybe there's maybe some type of gifting and some type of way we can show our appreciation to the show, and also maybe do some business together and lead each other into the right direction and partner, and hopefully I can help folks out.
We remind our listeners that be sure to go on to that part two of the hero's journey, because it's well worth listening to. That's for sure. You've really bounced back. It's quite an inspiring story. Time does go quickly. I've really enjoyed talking with you, Eric. Now, do you have any final thoughts?
My final thought is just, I appreciate Earl your questioning. I like the podcast. Like I said, I liked your energy when we first wrote you, and I appreciate the voice. I love your voice, and I appreciate the good questions today. And hopefully we continue to stay in touch and grow our businesses and grow in life and be good stewards of the Lord.
Well, thank you, Eric. Thanks for joining us at Voice Power, and have yourself a wonderful day, and hope you keep getting better. Thanks for joining Voice Power this morning, afternoon, or evening. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on Apple or Spotify podcasts. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget, someone may need your encouragement. We can use our eyes and voice to smile and greet others in a friendly way. You never know how your life will be a blessing to someone else. Have yourself a wonderful day, and we look forward to you joining us next time.